The term military analyst is not a legally protected term. It's not like doctor. It's more like economist. You know, any asshole can start calling themselves one and fart out a vaguely plausible opinion on the current situation.
Here's my plausible theory, opinion on the current situation. That was Laserpig, by the way. When I listened to that, I'm like, I'm jotting the time and marking down. I got to use that. Lifted and stole it wholly. Laserpig, if you want me to take it down, let me know. Or maybe I'll pay you royalties. I just laughed my ass off when I heard that. So I was talking to a buddy of mine from the dark days. This was the no joke dark days. This would be like my buddy in the foxhole in the dark days. And we go through troubles, just if you're wondering what kind of troubles you get to look forward to. This guy is a legit millionaire, and he's made it, but it was absolute hell for him to get there. And he touched on what I thought was a theoretical topic, I called it low-level background PTSD, because first, PTSD is completely abused. Oh my God! My dad didn't give me a brand new car. I have PTSD from living in Winnetka. Oh my God, it was so hard. I need the drugs. And whereas when I think of PTSD, it's like, no, that's like my buddy who did get hit by an IED and had to be put back together. That's PTSD. I get that. But you go through a bad, we could certainly say traumatic event, but it's not like piercing and short-lived. It's long, like poverty or hunger or a dysfunctional family. And both him and I, among some other guys I talked to, it's like you can't have fun anymore. A lot of that is because you get older and the things that you used to find fun when you were 4 are no longer fun now. But you can't set it down. You can't turn it off. He's an investor, a real estate investor, but because tradesmen are busy having sex with their sisters in the United States, he has to do all the trade work himself. And then when he gets this little bit of respite, okay, he'll go and fish and relax. But then it's like that itch, like, I got to get back. You get antsy. And I've been working on that, where I can't have fun. I mean, I do have fun. Don't get me wrong. I go out and I do have fun, but then it's like, okay, all right, we got to go back to working now. The other shoe's about to drop if we don't start kicking up some GDP here. And I was just having a conversation with him today, and he reminded me of this thought I had where you forget a lot. He says, do you remember when you did this? I'm like, oh God, I forgot about that. And now that I'm older and wiser, I won't lie, man. I have anger. I mean, I go to anger management. I was angry before, but I look at what everyone told me in the past and how society valued certain things and what we were told to do. I'm angry. Oh, do I want blood? I want heads on pikes or spikes. Spikes, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. Because the amount of pain, hell, agony I had to go through for many reasons, but the simplest one being that I was given the wrong information. It's sad and tragic because it didn't have to be that way. It really didn't have to be that way. But now that I'm older, okay, so that was me, right? I'm older now. I see as a wise, mature adult who is self-supporting. I look at I was probably told 2 lies for every truth. The tremendous amount of bullshit that society told us when we were younger. 2 to 1. Then I look at the millennials, who, criticizable as they might be, I don't think they were told the truth on anything, not once. And if there was one little kernel of truth, they were told 10 lies on top of it. And we see what ended up happening there. And now, because you all believe that Barack the Magic Dragon lives by the sea. Anyone know that song? Now that you all, a generation ago, you all believe that there's this thing called free money. And then the Trump people came along. Let's just print off more money because there's a disease. That'll solve the disease. Print off more money. Oh, we kept telling the same lies that the entire generations beforehand to the previous ones, the current ones we got now. I'm looking at the Zoomers and the Alphas coming up. And you're right. I mean, I'm not going to be doing, hey, pull yourself up by the bootstraps, as I've said many times before. I've changed my opinion. Like, yeah, don't rent if you don't have to. Be real good to your mom and dad and stay there as long as you can. And you bank up that money and you save it. And pretty much all the advice that was given back in the olden days is now horrifically outdated, even damaging. Dave Ramsey and his precious little "let's get married, boys." Ben Shapiro and Walsh and the other guy. Hey, I know it's 2023, but let's imagine it's 1923. Why don't you guys get married anyway? It's for America. And whereas the millennials certainly had it hard, and I speak of them in the past tense because they're in their 30s and younger 40s now. And sorry, riddling kids, there's younger generations that need the and not to mention you never course corrected. Millennials just double down. We know what we're doing. Like, okay, have fun being 40. You think the boomers are poor? Wait till you get to be that age. You'll have nothing in your 401k. I look at the Zoomers, which are now the ones who are currently being thrown upon the Omaha shores of the battle of reality. Yeah, it's impossible. I even did a video a little bit back, and this kind of like, I guess maybe I'll follow up, but a little more philosophically deep, where you can't afford to live in America anymore. If you're average or below average, like the normal person can't afford to live in America. Now you don't have a choice, by the way. You're like, see, I told you so. We're like, okay, good. Now that we both agree on that, has your problem been solved? No, it hasn't. So we got to come up with different tactics. And that one's more financially inclined, where I talk about, well, look, you live at home. Please, for the love of God. Or as Valiant Renegade says, please, please do not major in dumb shit. Please spend less than you make. Please do not get people pregnant you can when you can't afford a kid. Please do not buy a car you can't afford. So there's that stuff. And those are the you have to change your tactics because you're still here sitting there and crying and complaining just makes you a 41-year-old asking for a student loan bailout who belongs to that generation of 41-year-olds. I won't mention who it is, who's just going to say there's a generation between the Zoomers and the Xers, and that generation decided to sit there and cry for the past decade instead of get another job and make their lives better. I won't say who it is. And I'm trying to say, like, yeah, it sucks. It's not possible to live in America anymore as we have traditionally done. So now we need new tactics. But for everyone involved, let me address what I think will probably help you in terms of the making heads and tails of this, all the confusion. Because I cannot imagine how confused and pissed. I think I'm pissed off and angry. I can't imagine what it's like to be a millennial. I can't imagine what it's like to be a Zoomer. You have no idea what's going. Like, it can't possibly be this hard. I remember when I was a kid, like, why do I have to go to school for 4 more years on top of the 13 you already forced me to do? And I got to pay how much money? And this is probably $93. Like, it didn't make sense to me. But I'm just a dumb kid, and these boomer adults really know what they're doing. They're smart. They got gray hair. And so when you're given, and we'll get into the causes of, but one of the main ones, if not the main one, is given the wrong information. And you believe it because, well, why would the adults lie to me? That's not possible. Why would they do that? Your life gets way harder than it should have been. Life should have never been this hard. Never. And I'm not saying I could go back in a time machine and make it better for you, but I can explain it so the confusion goes away. And then maybe going forward in successive generations, probably starting with Generation Alpha, we agree not to lie to these kids. That's what we've been doing on the internet. And I know, but Cappy, we're going up against the legacy media, the mainstream media, old school institutions like the public education system and college. How can we possibly beat them? You can't. They're going to go. Kids got to go through K through college nowadays. They're teaching those kids, oh my God, men can have periods and your pronouns are really important. Can you teach me how to fix a car, do my taxes, you stupid 7th grade quanta, haha? They're not going to help you. They're going to tell you the exact same lies they've been telling the past 3-4 generations of Americans. But we got the internet, thank God. Now at least we can finally counter the outright lies and misinformation that has made everybody's life before this hard. And your Zoomers, if you will lend me your ears for a second and pull Karl Marx and John Maynard Keynes' dick out of your mouth, if you could just hear me out. I'm not saying vote Republican, but if you could stop sucking the Democrat dick just a second, you might be able to like, oh, that's why my life should not be this hard. And here's why it's hard. And if I get rid of these things or counteract them, my life will get easier. The millennials, I don't know, you're half dead. Do you want to turn this ship around? Do you want to make the last half of your life not suck as much as the first? And for Generation Alpha, for you young kids out there, look at the adult idiots ahead of you. Look at these morons. Do you want to become like them? Well, the way you become like them is doing exactly what they did, which is exactly what you're going to be told by your parents, your teachers, your guidance counselors, your professors, the media, the television, and the Democrat Party. Sorry, I got to loop them in there because they're like down with you. Hey, rock the vote, kids. Remember that? In my day, the douchebag was called Jon Stewart. Before that, you millennials had Trevor Noah. I don't know who the douche canoe is up on the television now. Like, hey, Democrat speaking platform policy number 1. Ha ha. Republicans sure are dumb, aren't they? And it is not as simple as, well, just, the Republican Party. That's not it. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the lies disproportionately because the Democrats are so involved in your life, starting from kindergarten all the way to college graduation. Don't tell me they're not. And I'm just saying, like, that's not true. So I did take some notes. And so this is why life is harder than it should be. And the first one obviously was lies. That if there was one thing on this list, this counts for like 60% of it because it's just simple misinformation. When you lie to someone and they believe you, and they think it's true, they then base their decisions off of erroneous information, the lie. It's just they base the decisions off of the erroneous information, the lie. Their decisions fail. Does not result in the success and results they wanted. Sadly, especially if you invested money in it, it sets you back. It's not merely a waste of time, but it's a waste of money. And the perfect example would be college. How they just force college down your throats. And they don't say major in engineering or accounting or anything wise or intelligent. Nope. You can go major in African-American history. You could go major in women's studies. You can major in early childhood education. You can major in journalism. You're going to change the world. And there, 4 years of your youth, 6 if you're a real moron, and the corresponding tuition. And now you got a student loan bailout over $1 trillion. You go ask the millennials how that college experience treated them. But I mean, the lies just seep. They lie to you about what's important in life. Ooh, it's being popular. It's being woke. It's having the right opinions. It's not working hard. I like that. They lie to you about why you fail. Oh, it's the white people. Oh, it's males. Oh, it's the patriarchy. Oh, it's the corporation. No, you're an idiot and made a dumb choice. Stop hiding behind some trait you were born with. You're poor because you had more kids than you could afford, or your mom did that, and that's why you're poor. But it's not the go-to Republicans in the Senate. It's not them. How do I get the girls? It's kind of an important one for men. Don't know if you noticed that. That's where a lot of men are failing in life. Well, how do I get the girls? And the lie they told, just be yourself. That is the worst advice ever. Girls like a sensitive kind. No, lies. How many guys wasted your youth? How many hours have you wasted? Years of your life did you waste doing that? Girls, we can flip the script. How do you get guys? Be bold, obnoxious, confrontational, combative, fat, strong, independent, lippy. How's that working for you? Lies. And it's sad because you look to the older generation like, hey, I want to have success in these areas. How do I do it? You usually money, love, philosophy. I just think money and sex are the main one. Well, love for women, sex for guys. They are two separate things. And then you're like, oh, just be yourself. Don't improve. You're perfect just the way you are, sweetheart. Be an insufferable bitch. Go be a girl boss. Yeah, that'll get the guys. I guess the biggest lie is that nothing is ever your fault. I think that's the biggest lie. Because you're like, well, I'm perfect. Then there's no reason for me to change. Which means you're just going to keep on making the same mistakes over and over and never. And then your life is over. It's over. So there's that. Related, I did want to point this one out. I think, you need a dream. What are you here? You're here to live your dream. Go pursue your dream. Your dreams are stupid. I've done a video on that. I think I've even wrote a chapter about that and how not to become a millennial. Because dreams take a long time. You got to work towards them. And they tell you kids, they told us, follow your heart, follow your dreams. That's bullshit. Get a job. Make a lot of money and support yourself so you don't have to worry about starvation, cold, or paying rent. And when you get to that point, then maybe you can start thinking about your dreams. Hollywood and movie, television, a lot of, someday I'm going to grow up and be a Veritech fighter. And that's an innocent dream every 10-year-old boy would have. He got 25-year-old idiots in mind. I'm going to save the world and end childhood hunger with my sociology degree. No, you aren't, Tanner. I just don't have a master's degree. Then I'll save the children's. Oh, you need a doctorate. Oh, I need a doctorate. Then save the world I'd be world saver. And all you do is just go into debt, waste your youth, and by that time it's kind of over. Because if you go into debt and waste your youth pursuing impossible dreams, you gotta come from way far behind, and you don't play catch up until you're in your 40s. And so that's another thing. Just let's end that lie right there. Follow your dreams. Stupid people mistakes. I've ran into this. This is nothing sexy or philosophical. It's just that the population of America is getting dumber and lazier. They don't finish to their job. They make more mistakes. And you have to understand how many thousands of layers of labor and the hundreds of millions of people employed, not just here, but overseas as well, go into getting even this computer to go on. We have very intricate and complex systems that everybody needs to do their job. And you run into this daily. Someone wired the traffic lights wrong, and now there's a traffic jam. And now you, among 1,000 other people, are delayed an hour, which is 1,000 hours, which is a lot of work. Lost GDP there. Someone doesn't have the right computer code for the computer. The computer fires up, shuts down, but it's not your personal computer. It's a computer that runs an assembly manufacturing thing, and it messes up 10,000 widgets that all have to be thrown away. It could be something as small and annoying as they didn't get your order right at Jimmy John's, but they never do. But this is, instead of like death by a single stroke, this is death by a million mistakes. And it's just going to get worse. I've likened it to hiking uphill in mud in a snowstorm. You're going uphill against flowing mud because there's so many stupid people making so many stupid mistakes. Usually results in you waiting in lines. We'll get to it later, but your manufacturing quality goes down. I've dealt with this building a house. A lot of you who are homeowners, it. Even if you do get the plumber, you don't know if that guy's high on meth or not. So it's just, did they fix your car right? Yeah, that was another one. They left a piece of wood in my engine bay and it started catching fire. I'm like, why does it smell like a camp? These are all true stories. All true stories. And that just takes more and more of your time. And instead of you working towards improving something or making money or getting out of debt or maybe just having fun, you're constantly fixing. Oh, American Family Insurance is a perfect example. I'm still dicking around with them. Still like, wait, my house got hit by lightning. Everything got damaged. I have documentation from the electrician, the garage door guy. And then you send off the email and they never get, here's how bad it is. They don't get back to you and say, oh, we're rejecting your claim on these grounds. They just never get back to you like it's YouTube or Google. You're like, excuse me, you actually think I'm going to, what? It makes living in a community, if your community is so stupid, it's just a bunch of fat people wandering around at Walmart, and the only thing we can buy is Chinese imports because the Chinese seem to be the only people that have their active that can actually make a product, and even then it's dubious quality. Your life is going to suck. Life, imagine how hard life is with the stupid people, and imagine how much easier if all the stupid people went away. Imagine your stupid coworkers went away. You always got that one person clogging up the works. Imagine if the mechanics fixed the thing the right time, the tradesman did the thing right the first time. You didn't have to constantly go back and hound people. And so I can't emphasize, and it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse. We're breeding nothing but stupid people in this country now. Not even out of genetics or, oh my God, the immigrants are coming in. Like, no. You be more worried about parents not raising their kids right. I was listening to the Great Ones podcast. He works with this kid. This kid's 19, lives at home, has to commute, I guess, 40 miles every day, Ubers every day, claims to be on ADHD and is on drugs or Ritalin or whatever, and doesn't have a driver's license. Got his permit. I got my permit. Got my permit. Don't tell me that has anything to do with intelligence. He could have an IQ of 150. He's still effectively a stupid moron. Then people who are like 85, 90 IQ. Fine, they're stupid. But you know what? They work hard and they follow a couple principles like being on time and doing the job right. So I guess competency would probably be a better competent. You're dealing with incompetent people. Then there's honoring your word. This is unethical people. American Family Insurance again, everybody. Hey, my house gets hit by, an act of God. You're going to cover this, right? No, you won't. They're not honoring their word. Oh, fine. In some fine detail blueprint. Well, you see, it got struck on a Tuesday and we're a non-Tuesday, whatever it is. Divorce, there's one. Who here had their life a little bit more complicated because of divorce? Anyone have a little? Because someone didn't honor their word, right? All right, well. I remember, I hope you HR ladies, I hope there's vats of boiling acid where you're going. The number of times I told I was either going to get a job offer or I was coming back for a second interview and you never heard from them again. You had to follow up with them. I don't know why I didn't even think of this. One in the chat. This has had to you. I don't know if this happened to a lot of guys here. Maybe girls too, you could participate in. One in the chat room, if anyone stood you up or flaked for a date. Has that ever happened to anyone? I don't know. It must be a rare event. I'm going to expect 0 if you haven't. 0 if you've never been stood up. 1 if you have. There must be nothing but zeros in there because women never say they're going to go on a date with you and then flake at the last minute now, do they? That alone was so exhausting. You finally work. You're this young guy. You save up the money. You build up the courage. You come up with something clever. You talk to the girl, whatever, in the class, on the bus, whatever. She says yes. You get a number. Okay, I know this is old. Nowadays, you're on Insto chat. Like, you want to come over and fuck? Oh, she didn't come over and fuck. She flaked at the last minute. Way to go, Casanova. Don't know how you did charm the pants off of her. But this is in the day. All right, then you get Friday off and you save, then you get the gas. And then you set up a reservation or whatever. If it's a jazz club or whatever, you put all, you'd be lucky. Just again, the Google, you'd be lucky if you got a response. Always like, hey, on my way, are we still on for tonight? The always, are we still on for tonight call. Now it'd be more of a text. And then you'd hear nothing. Maybe nowadays they text and say, I'm not feeling well. The number of crises that strike women 12 hours before a date. Oh my God. They're like, not even, you can't even handle them as an insurance risk. They're uninsurable. My mom went to the hospital. My friend broke up with her friend. My dog has their spleen farting out. I'd like to. Oh, gee, I wonder why guys aren't asking out girls anymore. No one, and you cannot. Now, I know I'm doing that on social interaction, but if you don't honor your word, a society cannot function. Because that's what a society is we're interacting and exchanging time. Sometimes money for products, sometimes products for money, sometimes just to hang out, sometimes social activity. But it's all time. In the end, it's all time. And if no one's going to honor their word, like, oh, I don't know, we're not going to insure you, or I'm not going to fix, there's like this implied contract, like, okay, I brought my car in, you fix it, right? Oh yeah, we forgot to tighten down we forgot to put oil in the engine. I heard that one time. Holy cow, that guy was pissed. Because if you ain't going to honor your word, then no one has any reason to get out there and interact. And for those of you out there who life has not been that hard, I almost guarantee those of you out there, one, you've been stood up. Everyone's been stood up, obviously. Because, her grandmother got hit by a truck. Obviously, of course, everyone's grandmother gets hit by a truck 5 hours before a date. But I guarantee you, most of you probably were given a job offer or like, yeah, we're going to call you back. We want to come have a second interview. You never heard from them again. And if you're not going to honor your word, why would anyone counter invest in you? And then there's like and then everyone becomes a hermit and lives off grid. You girls wonder why guys aren't asking you out. How many of your 4 sisters, how many of your female friends, how many times did you personally not honor your word and bail at the last minute? You wonder why people want to run HR people over with trucks, which they do. You're too arrogant and smug to think about, we're the most perfect people in the world. You wonder why people hate HRs? Because you treat people like shit. You didn't honor your word. And I can totally understand the lying flat or the great resignation. Oh, you come into a job, the job title says, you're this. I remember I was an analyst one time. I went in, all I did was fax documents. Go fuck yourself. I hope I literally hope you die. I do. A painful death. You can't tell people here's the job and then switch it at the last minute on them with the duties. You're lying. And now corporate America, after 40 years of railing employees in the ass, we can't find people. It's so sad. People don't show up anymore. You have a track record of being sexist shit and dishonorable people not honoring your word. And no doubt for many of you, that pisses me off. Not only is that wasting your time and your money, but it pisses me off. So there you go. All this obviously results in manufacturing quality, just as you're relying on hundreds of millions of people to do their job every day the right way all the time. There's trillions of working pieces of machinery in this economy that have to work. I'm more pointing my finger at China. I had a water fixture that went. Thank God I was here when it did, because otherwise my house would have been flooded. It was faulty, cheap Chinese products. My buddy who I was talking to, he was installing a new range oven from Best Buy, I believe it was Best. I'm mentioning companies' names, by the way. Go fuck yourselves. You're horrible people. You don't sell quality products. You don't offer quality services. I have no problem telling people. Enterprise rental car, never going there again. I'm just trying to save you guys a lot of pain and agony. That's all. Save you some money. But a brand new oven range broke in 6 months. Car batteries, they used to last about 5 years. Now they last 3. Anything to save a buck, huh, gang? And instead of like getting a good long stretch of nothing breaking down and contributing and actually increasing standards of living and making some progress in life, You're always going back and fixing things. You're either fixing people's mistakes or actual physical products that have failed. And I know for a lot of you, for those of you like you have a car and a computer and you rent, maybe you haven't ran into this as much. Maybe you have. I don't know, like, whatever, the stuff in your apartment doesn't work, the toilet doesn't work, and it takes your landlord forever to fix it. So maybe you've experienced there. But the second you get into home ownership, and especially if you do kind of like repairs and you got multiple vehicles, and I obviously rely on the internet. I have to have you guys have seen it. You've seen the internet go out here because some fuckwit hasn't done their job up along the internet stream. This camera is my old camera because the new Brio made by Logitech, go fuck yourself, just is worse. The Brio 500, which is 2 generations ahead of this one, is worse than this one. Why? Why did I waste my time going, I think it was Best Buy, to buy the Brio? Why did I buy that? That was a waste of $120 and my time. Imagine if I just stuck with this and that's just one thing. Are things going to break down? Yes. But guys, I'm not kidding. For a good 2-3 years, it's just been fixing up shit, repairing things, getting things to work that thing broke down. Of course, then the lightning strike, which again, American Family Insurance has I'm still think I'm owed $2,000 after an hour and a half of I'm sorry, not an hour and a half, a month and a half on customer service. You might squeeze a couple pennies out of them. How much time do we have? This is why I call the mistake economy. How much time do we waste fixing people's mistakes or faulty equipment? I'm sure the IT industry knows this how much of it is actually doing new stuff versus just fixing problems? I almost guarantee 70% of my work in the past 3 years has been going to fixing mistakes and just keeping things afloat. Only 30% has been new actual work, and I'm finally able to work on a job or work on a book. That's new. Think about how much we limit ourselves as a society and how hard your life is because things, including people, services, companies, and equipment, doesn't fucking work. I'm not saying everything was high quality in the 70s, but things worked way more. I remember the 80s and then customer service. You go get restaurant food. How's that? They're not even open half the time. And these are not, yes, they are individually petty small things. Oh, Cappy had to get a new camera. When you multiply it by everything, do you see how it starts? It's not one big failing blow. It's death by a million cuts, death by a million mosquito bites. Your engine grinds to a halt. If you take one grain of sand, you put it in your engine, it's not going to do anything. But if you keep doing that every hour over years, yeah, it will inevitably destroy your engine. And that's what we've been doing. Another huge one, and this one pisses me off, and you millennials should go and demand all your money back, not from the taxpayer, but from the colleges and professors that took it from you. But this idea of a right to work. I don't mean that in a right to work state, which means you don't have to join the union. It's a term for union labor, and it's a state by state case or basis. That's not what I'm talking about here. You should have a right to work. And what should determine whether you are qualified for the job is whether you can do the job. Now, whether you have a college degree, now whether you have a certain GPA, now you have all these certificates. Can you do the job or not? And this, oh God, I hope you boomers, that God and the devil, the boomers are so bad on this. God and the devil actually agreed. They're up there right now. Those are some pretty despicable people. And God's like, yeah, I didn't think anyone could be worse than you, but apparently so. And devil and God are together. Satan and God are working right now. Like, we got to make super hell because hell isn't good, is too good for these people. And the devil's also like, I don't want them in my hell either. I got standards. And God's like, yeah, you're right. Let's team up together and come up with super hell. And so who's going to be in charge of it? And God and Satan both agreed, it'll just be HR Karens. They'll be in charge of it. And the reason all the boomers go to super hell in charge with the HR Karens and all that is because you made it impossible for people to work. This bullshit requiring a college degree, 17 years of education for people to have an entry-level job. You had those kids from 5 to 18, 13 years in public schools, K through 12, and you couldn't teach them a damn thing. They still weren't skilled or equipped to get a job. And then you assholes require them to go into crippling levels of debt to go to get a college degree so that they have the honor of applying to this worthless Quantaha bitch of an HR Karen so she can go ahead and see whether or not that person's qualified to work. You're vile, evil, despicable people, and there's no other way to describe it. And that right there, making you go to school for 22, I'm sorry, not 22 years, until you're 22, make you go to school for 17 years to qualify for an entry-level job. Not kidding. First job out of college was filing and faxing. I'm like, I am a top graduate, put myself through college. What is, oh, and I was an analyst too. That was they called me an analyst. Hunt you all down. Hunt you up. I don't have to. You're all going to special hell. Special boomer hell. Now, with all that, it is amazing we even have an economy that grows at times. It's amazing. But when you look back at it, especially when you're a younger person, and all the old people, parents, teachers, guidance counselors, blah, 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 all those people, and they start telling you, well, you're just not doing it right. Well, you're just your bootstraps. No, they're wrong. There was no way, unless you actually had some parents that gave a shit about you and some teachers that had their head out there. I say, you ain't majoring in this dumb crap. Your dreams are stupid. Get a job, save your money. I swear to God, if you get somebody pregnant, you're not welcome back here. The percent, like you know who you needed? Asian parents. That's who you needed. We all needed Asian parents. Oh my God, how come Asians do so well? It's just because it must be because they're Asian. There's something genetically. No. The parents stay together. They make sure the kids major in the right thing. The parents actually support them a little bit, maybe. They make sure the kids got good grades. They taught them a work ethic. Technically, that's culturally maybe Asian, but it's not genetically Asian, if you know what I'm saying. Meanwhile, let's do stereotype. Want to do stereotype? Let's do stereotype. White parents. Oh my God, we've been married for 15 minutes and we've had our kid. The kid is only a year old. Time to get divorced. Is it divorce time already? La, 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 la. Do whatever you want. Follow her, buddy. I don't know. Drop you off at daycare. Blah, 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 blah. Other families, we won't mention which group, though certainly not Monopoly. What do you mean, Dad? What do you mean, Dad? Who's that? Hey, you're my half-sister. All right. You're my stepbrother. Did someone get married? Oh, wait, they already got divorced. Oh, good. Thank God we couldn't have stable nuclear families here. And the arrogance of these people. You should get married. You just got to work a little bit harder. You don't keep sending out those resumes. Follow your heart. The money will follow. Oh, I want to be in charge of special hell. Super hell. I want to be in charge of super hell. Come on down there. Archangel Cappy is here today. Let the punishment begin. And I think that is what really screwed a lot of people up, is not only that you should have figured this out and somehow you should be ashamed. I am not a big guy on forgiveness. I'm like, get off your ass, go do it. All right. But with the misinformation you had and the misinformation and the lies and the incompetence of everyone surrounding you. And I guess another thing we could add there is the value system that we had. Is like, oh, your value system is, what's the value system? Work hard, freedom, independence, old school America, white picket fence, nuclear family. No. It's vote Democrat and virtue signal and have the right politics and you go girlism and buy a bunch of shit you can't afford on debt. And if you don't do that, you're a loser. Meanwhile, if you can't save up any money because you couldn't find a job and you can't pay back your student loan, of course, usually it's because you're lazy, you won't get a second job, which they're available. This is where I do apply some responsibility. Oh, it's just, I love how they outsource. I don't know. Just, maybe you're fishing in the wrong hole. Worthless piss on your face boomer advice. Maybe you just approach the wrong type of girl. How many of you got that one? You just attract the wrong type of girl. What? The hot ones? The ones I want to have sex with? What are you talking about? And then you're confused. You're like, I did everything I was told. That's a very common complaint among the millennials. I did everything I was told and it didn't pan out. I'm like, yeah, because you were given the wrong information, the wrong value system. Everything was wrong. And even to this day, they don't tell you it's wrong. They just double down. Men are patriarchal. Big is beautiful. 45 is the new 25. Oh my God. You want to look at lies? Just go look at what they tell women today. You need a master's degree. If you got an MBA, man, MBA preferred. Nope. And then here you are. You're 30. You're exhausted. You don't even make it to 40 and you're exhausted and tired. Like, why am I sad? Why am I depressed? Why don't I have the girls? Why do I have debt? It's because life shouldn't have been that hard. You were given the wrong information. You made all the wrong choices. And I'll grant you, that was not your fault. But one, it's not your fault. Two, it shouldn't have been this hard. Three, now it's your responsibility to get out of this because now you know. And four, I think we got a responsibility of the younger generation to say, look, this is all bullshit. This baby boomer bullshit that Gen X kept repeating to their kids and the millennials do the hold my beer. Oh yeah, all that boomer stuff you told us, we're going to say that to our kids and say, hey, you might want to cut off your boobies when you're 13, honey. Hey, you have a disease. You have ADHD too, because I don't want to raise you just like my parents didn't want to raise me either. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, socialism all the way. Your father and I have $60,000 in student loan debt because we believe they're socialist professors. But you should keep voting Democrat. Yep, and everything's not your fault. Super boomers. Millennials die. They go to super hell. Why are we here? Because you didn't change. You didn't course correct. You abused your children. You did the exact same thing the boomers did to you, but you did to your kids. But some of them, you got them to cut their tits off because you thought it'd be popular. You could break your kid had a disease or something like that. I don't know. It's pretty sick. But can we tell the younger generation, STEM, accounting, trades? All right. And I'm not here to convince people not to vote Democrat. That's not one. But can we just like, you don't have to work for a living and nothing is your fault? How's that helped? How's that helped all the various aggrieved communities? How's that helped you girls, ladies? You're constantly a victim. How's that working out for you? Are you happy? And then, and so now at minimum, you should no longer be confused. You should be angry and pissed off as hell, but you should no longer be confused. You should know going forward for whatever remainder amount of your life is left over, like how to do it right. And then you should, God almighty, if you have the slightest bit of humanity to you, do not pass on these lies and the wrong information and this anti-wisdom, this destructive wisdom to children. And there you go. That's all I want to do it. So now link below are some things to help. Because I look back, like basically all the materials I put together is don't do it the way I did. Here's to make it easier. So link below is a link to all my courses. There are 3 of which are offered through Teachable. Achieving Financial Excellence. That's your very first step for financial planning. Take that first before you read a book, whether it's Dave Ramsey or not, please take that course. There's the dad you never had, because damn well near 85% of you didn't have dads. I mean, you did, but they didn't give you no wisdom. And they're probably, look, if your dad ever said, well, you major in whatever you want, sweetheart, you don't have a dad, please take this course. The best $150 you'll ever spend plus tax. And then there's Achieving Minimalism, where if you think you got to have things and stuff to be popular and live life, you're going to be sorely mistaken and you're going to be poor. If you got a spending problem, take that one, but that one's very expensive. That one's open until I finish the book. Just want to, there's material for you. Also, there's Bachelor Pad Economics, the Financial Advice Bible for Men. Women, you can read it too, but you want to read How Your Hooch is Perfectly Magical by Oprah, and everybody should bow down and worship it. So you could go read her book or mine, and you guess which one's going to make you rich. You guess which one's going to make you a rich 78-year-old person who's happy and maybe had a life, and which one's going to make you a pissed off, bitter baby boomer spinster that life didn't go your way. You figure out which book leads where. And then How Not to Become a Millennial. Go through all the stuff the millennials did that they were lied to, and here's what happens. For you younger people, want something a little bit more in detail than the mere 45 minutes I've been talking here. We go through. All right, we got any super chats. We got 9 super chats. Let's go through it. Ministry of Otaku. Thank you for all the comments on Twitter, by the way. I do follow you. $10. As for your stay with your parents' advice due to the higher rent, what if you don't have loving parents and they see you as a retirement check punching bag? Well, it sucks to be you. Guys, Cappy, what if I get hit by a meteorite? Well, you get hit by a meteorite. It sucks, man. You're going to have to work. You just going to have to live. You have to do what I did, man. You're going to have to work 2 jobs. You're going to live in a cold basement. You're going to use blankets to heat yourself up. The pipes are going to freeze. It's going to suck, man. It's going to suck. But you know what sucks worse? Avoiding that and being in that forever for the rest of your life. Some people in these cases have to leave. Yeah, you're going to have to leave. You're going to have to come up with something, man. Find some friends, live in a 1-bedroom, like a bedroom, not a 1-bedroom apartment, rent a room, live in a truck, something. It's that bad. And I'm sorry for you, man, but yeah, not everyone can do that. Candy Graham from Mongo, $5. Hello from San Diego, non-ghetto 1-bedroom apartments are $2,500 a month. Costco gas is $5.60 a gallon. Nice weather, ain't worth this BS. Leaving ASAP. I get a kick out of they're my age now. I talked to a hedge fund manager who's my age. He made all this money. I'm like, why do you live here? Like, it's the weather, man. It's the weather. And I'm like, hang 10, bro. The weather, bro. I'm not that stupidity. I'm like, yeah, you know what? I hope they take it all. I hope they take it all. La Jolla. No, Del Mar. I think it was Del Mar. PI, $5. Can't afford your consulting right now, but can't wait till November 1st. Love your work. And I try to show my siblings what you advocate. Thanks, man. Look, if you can't afford my consulting, most of the stuff I consult on, the general overall principle is somewhere in one of the books. Obviously, the problem is you have to go and find out what that is, and you can look it up by chapter. And yeah, it's going to cost you $5, $10, $20 for the book, whatever it is, but you're going to have to read it. All right. So some people, they don't have the time. They're willing to toss me $35, $40. And admittedly, there's usually a specific problem specific to your situation that the general advice in a book may not address. But, go look it up. There's other content producers. Search it on the internet. Somebody probably had this same situation. Somebody out there's addressed it. Candy Graham from Mongo. Best advice I ever heard from you was rely on other humans as little as possible. Right. You have to be independent. Was that off the cuff, or do you always keep that in mind? No, that was burned in my mind. I couldn't rely on my parents, not because they were bad parents or abused me or anything. They didn't. They just had no money. There's no support coming from them. So it's like, okay, that's out. The community I was in, which was Minneapolis, Minnesota, they legitimately hate white males. They hate white males. They'll help every Somali. They'll help every immigrant. They'll help every woman. But if you are a white male, there is no help in that community. None. Not in terms of financial aid, not in terms of scholarships. So there was no communal support there. And what I should have done was immediately moved and gotten in-state tuition elsewhere. But I didn't know because I was an 18-year-old idiot. Follow your heart, money will follow. Okay. Yeah, I mean, what is your Candy Graham? I'm kind of interested. Have you ever been able to rely on a human being? I'm not saying parasite off of them, but have you relied on people and they've come through for you in any kind of consistency? Hell, I got rid of one friend because he wouldn't drive me to the airport. I'm like, you know what? You're not going to drive me to the airport. Okay. All right. Never mind. I'll do it myself. And a great character is Zack from Castlevania. Go watch Zack. That's his entire character arc. He can't rely on anyone because no one's going to help him. If anything, they get in his way. Javier Berges, 200 Argentinian pesos. One of my Chinese mic preamps stopped working. The Japanese one I have from the 80s still work. I am almost looking to just buy exclusively Japanese stuff. I'm done with this crap. Desea Bronx, $5. I hear, Cappy. My grandparents' 40-year-old freezer still works. My new one died after 2 years. Yep. Bob, $5. I have the same issue with a mechanic each time. I'm going to her, my engine overheating. Been broke. It sucks. You might as well fix these things yourself. You might as well. These mechanics and tradesmen are pretty much becoming worthless. SJ, 2 Canadians, Tiger parents. Are you Dr. No? Talk to me when, Doctor. I mean, Dr. No from James Bond? Did you know, man? $2. Super Hell. Did you convert? Cappy, bless you. PI, $2. I read your books. This is specific. Okay, yeah, then I'm not taking clients. I'm not until this book is done, not until the end of October. Maybe hire Ryan Stone or someone else. Tell him I sent you. And Mark Bagania, $1 just says hi. Thanks, Mark. All right, that's it. Cappy's going to get food. Links to everything below. If you need one thing, to know why life shouldn't have been this hard, I recommend the Dad You Never Had course because it's got all the base reality advice that you ever need. But there's other stuff there too. I'll see you guys later. Toodles.